It's Mailbag Monday on CHGO Blackhawks. Who will be the Hawks' breakout player? We have myriad trade ideas and a whole lot more coming up next on CHGO Blackhawks. Happy Monday. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast here at CHGO Spirit Week. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming up this week. We've got Mystery Guest Tuesday, Surprise Guest Tuesday, rather. Musical Chairs Day on Wednesday. Big Brothers, Big Sisters Day on Thursday. Today is Favorite T-Shirt Day. Mario and I are rocking our favorite CHGO T-shirts. You can get yours today at store.allcitynetwork.com. We've got a 30% off flash sale going on, so stock up on all city merch, including CHGO Blackhawks stuff like we have here. Whatever team, whatever you're into, you're going to save 30% today only at store.allcitynetwork.com. And we're collecting donations for our friends at Big Brothers Big Sisters today. If you're looking at your YouTube page, you'll see the little heart with the shaking hands. That is the button to donate. So you want to kick in a few bucks for Big Brothers Big Sisters, our new partner. We'd appreciate that. We're going to be making those collecting those donations all week.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome initiative there for Big Brothers Big Sisters. So we also got Friday is Die Hard Day, so we'll have to find a way to incorporate that, but should be a lot of fun. I like a good Spirit Week.
Yeah. Why not?
Brings me back to homecoming in high school.
Good times for you in homecoming?
This is fine. Yeah.
Good.
This is not the show to get into high school.
Fair enough.
High school
fair
memories.
Enough. Hey man, times have changed. It's it's a different era altogether these days. Had a player on my daughter's softball team reveal her new tattoo this weekend.
Oh, fun.
Oh, you're 15.
Yeah.
So
you got to get a parent to sign off on that.
And another girl said, "Oh, I got one too." It's like, "Oh, okay." When I was 15, I was like doing super soaker fights and
yeah, right.
you know. Anyway, that's not why you're here.
Interesting.
You're here to give the Big Brothers and Big Sisters and to get your mailbag questions answered. And thanks to Windy City Hockey for the countdown. We are 11 days away till the NHL Draft. And boy, let's fast forward.
I'm ready for it.
We've got some wacky trade ideas.
I'm ready for it.
We'll get to. But before we get to our first mailbag question, hit the like for us. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. And if you're listening on the podcast, follow, subscribe, like, review, all that dandy stuff. All right, to the mailbag, Stephen, if you will. This one is for from Darth Kane. Who is your very early prediction for breakout candidate for the 2025-26 seasons? There are myriad choices, thank you, given the current roster. Now, I think we have to define breakout first. Because I think Frank Nazar already broke out. Is that fair to say? A very high-profile, well-celebrated rookie year.
Sure, but I think for me, breakout is more like you elevate to a level that you're not expected to. Ryan Donato had a breakout year last year.
That's fair.
That's how I would define it, and I think Nazar could have a year that you would say, wow, he really broke out. Because it was, about what was it, like 21 points in 50 games, something like that last year. And I'm not saying he's going to do this, but, he could go out have a 60-point season or something like that. And I think I would call that a breakout. And I think that would be something that would take him to another level that, you may or may not expect it to. I don't think we say 50 or 60 points is an expectation for Frank Nazar. But I think being a guy who's going to, be more of what we saw towards the end of last season, I think that is an expectation. And if he's above that, that's a breakout.
I mean, it doesn't feel like 60 maybe optimistic, but it doesn't feel impossible.
No, it feels like a very high ceiling.
In the way he performed in the World Championships, the confidence he played with at the end of the year, where he was many nights the best player on the ice for either team in terms of generating chances and doing all the right things.
Yeah.
So even if it's not 60 points next year, I think a fully realized Frank Nazar, if he keeps going the way we think he's going to go, is in that like 60 to 70 point range every year, which is great.
I would think that would be like a good benchmark for him to reach.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So is that who you're going with, or do you have a different?
No, the guy that I had two that I was gonna go with.
Okay.
One being Spencer Knight, I think for me with him, I think we have a lot of expectations on him as Blackhawks fans. I think he's coming here with, he's a young goaltender of the future, like kind of looking at it that way. And he's had some success as, being in a backup role in Florida. He's had success at the AHL level, and now it'll be translating to being a starter, full-time starter for an NHL team, which he hasn't done yet. But he's my candidate for it because I think as this team grows, he had some really good performances last season, but his numbers were, they looked like a goalie that was playing with a team that was at the bottom of the league.
Yeah.
I think he is a guy that is going to go to that next level of, answering the question, is he the goaltender of the future? Is he a starting goaltender in the NHL for 50, 60 plus games as he has said he wants to do? He's my candidate to be able to do it. I believe that Knight has the tools. I think he's wise beyond his years. And he's a guy that's coming from an organization that, as we've been watching the Panthers for the last few seasons, that is somewhere where a mentality for him for what it takes to win in high pressure, high profile games, being in that environment, being around those types of players. Hopefully that is rubbed off a little bit already on the group in Chicago, and will continue to, as he might have more of a voice in the locker room now that he's a little bit more gets a little bit more established within the organization. And he's my number one pick for breakout player.
I like that, and I think we still might we might see, back of the hockey card, stats may not look stellar because it's still going to be a team with a very young defense, very young team in general, and you might see a higher goals against and a lower save percentage. But when you dig into the bigger numbers, like goals saved above expected per 60, last year he was 25th in the league, which sounds bad, but here's the people he was around with: Dustin Wolf, Jake Ottinger. Jake Ottinger and Spencer Knight had identical goals saved above average per 60. He was ahead of Bobrovsky, ahead of Kochekov, ahead of Binnington. So that's where he's at. And then if you just go to standard goals saved above expected, he was 6.9, right behind Bobrovsky's 7.2, and ahead of Kochekov's 6.0. So those are good underlying numbers that show you he's playing better than your average goal. Think of it like WAR in baseball. Like
zero.
The average goalie should be zero.
Zero in that is saying you are making all the saves you're supposed to,
plus,
and none of the saves that you're not supposed to.
Correct.
Yeah. So if you're positive there, you're making some saves that the average goalie wouldn't.
So if he could be top 15 for starters or goalies with more than 30 starts, or however you want to define it, which I think is realistic for him, especially, you've got a season to settle into your new home, really get an off-season program going with the new coaches, with Stefan Waite. There's no question that he's the starter. So his mind's got to be more confident and like ready and knows what to expect than it's ever been in his NHL career.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing it. I like that pick a lot. We'll get to your other ones here. We got to hit the break zone, Steven. Are we okay? Oh, we're good? Okay. Who's your second one?
My second one is, I think it's a more obvious pick, but Sam Rinzel. I think, as we've kind of, again, with Knight and with Rinzel, like you saw towards the end of the season, some of those traits and qualities and the level that they can play at with Rinzel, I mean, he stepped in and started playing 20-plus minutes a night right away with the Blackhawks and handled it really well in a 9-game sample. And, we've kind of heard from Frank Saravalli, who's got, a finger on the pulse of the Hawks, saying that, there's a chance that he doesn't play any AHL games, that he could have the impact immediately that a Brock Faber had in Minnesota. So that gets you excited. I think the skill set is there. It's just kind of being able to physically handle what would potentially be a full season in the NHL, but just being able to physically handle the night in, night out requirements of the NHL is going to be tough on Rinzel. And this offseason, he said is going to be one that he's going to focus on adding some weight and, firming up and being able to handle that. So I think he's a guy that has the ability, and I think will get the opportunity to play a lot of minutes and see a lot of ice, which I think could give us a someone in that Calder race next year. Could be Sam Rinzel.
Those are two really good picks, and I think that he is a star waiting to happen. I really do. I think it's going to be a little more than, Alex Vlasic is great and has played really well and has turned a lot of heads and has earned his spot on Team USA for the World Championships. I would expect him to be a strong candidate for the Olympics. But I don't think he's as flashy as Rinzel can be. And I think there's a lot of offensive upside to Rinzel's game. So you could see some point totals next year that could get some attention. I think Rinzel is a great one. I agree with you on Spencer Knight. So I'm going to go a little off the board. If he is a Blackhawk to
Mitch
start
Marner.
the season, Mitch Marner, yes. If he is a Blackhawk, I think that Jeff Blashill's coaching style could get something out of Lucas Reichel. I think the biggest problem we have with Lucas Reichel is the consistency, the day-to-day. And I'm not saying that Luke Richardson and Anders Sorensen didn't do a good job of reinforcing those expectations, but I do think early in the year last year, I think players could read the writing on the wall for Luke. They knew Sorensen was an interim. So, I think there's just kind of a natural letdown a little bit. Someone who is fully empowered day one to implement their system, to implement their philosophy, to implement the winning hockey Blashill's been talking about. That is what Reichel needs, is someone to be on him all the time. I also think that depending on what they add this offseason, Jeff Blashill could look at Lucas Reichel and say, this is a top 6 skill set. I'm not playing this guy in the fourth line. I'm going to put him in a position to succeed. And when I see that a player like Andreas Athanasiou had a career year under Jeff Blashill, maybe that's something that could translate for Reichel. Similar skill set, a lot of hey, you watch the player and see that they're skilled. Same with Athanasiou and Reichel, right?
Right.
Fast, good hands. Every now and again, they'll go, whoa, look at that move. But it's been the finish. It's been the consistency for both. The best season Athanasiou had was under Jeff Blashill. Maybe I'm grasping at straws here, but this is kind of Lucas Reichel's last chance. If he even gets to training camp as a Blackhawk, he could very well be traded this offseason. I think if he's here, would be a decent breakout candidate.
I think it would be a bad idea for the Blackhawks to trade any Olympians this year.
Yeah,
and
Olympian.
Lucas Reichel is going to be an Olympian, as he was named to the first 6 to Team Germany.
I see there's a lot of people he shouldn't be in the top 6. I don't think it's a ranking. I think it's just the ones they were able to confirm.
It is kind of, I saw
cool,
that
though.
and I kind of chuckled. I was like, no JJ Peterka?
Yeah.
Lucas Reichel you're going with?
They got to get him in whatever New Jersey he's going to be in.
That's true.
That's got to be what it is.
I mean, I think we would all benefit from Lucas Reichel having a breakout year, and we've kind of been waiting for it for a season and a half. When is he going to get to that level of, where he was drafted, first round pick, being able to, kind of be part of that young group that you're going to push forward with. I hope he has it. I really do. I think there is still something there to unlock with him. Hopefully Blashill's the guy to do it, and he's on an expiring deal. This is the year to figure it out in Chicago, I think.
So here's my conspiracy theory. Frank Saravalli can report this. Take it to the bank. Kyle Davidson manipulating the trade wire, throwing a couple some money over to Team Germany to get Reichel ahead of Peterka, picks up the phone and says, hey, you want one of the top 6 players in Germany for JJ Peterka? And the Sabres say, "Gorsh, we sure do. That sounds great." And they trade Lucas Reichel for JJ Peterka straight up.
Straight up, yes.
See,
absolutely.
It's all that's an E5 from Eklund right there. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. That's definitely that is a 4D chess from Kyle Davidson getting Reichel named before Peterka to drive up that trade value. All right, we're gonna hit the break zone for the first time. We promise we will get through questions a little more quickly than one per segment. But that was a big one.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
And we got a big super chat we're going to get to on the other side of the break here. Stick around, hit that like button for us. Make sure you're subscribed. We'll talk to you in 2 minutes on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use the code CHGO365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. And with the Bet365 NHL early payout offer, you're a winner if your team gains a 3-goal lead with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. So download the app. Use the code CHGO365 when you sign up. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use that code CHGO365, deposit 10, bet 5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Those bonus bets can be used on the spread, player props, totals, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus if you or somebody you know has a gambling problem. Crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only.
And just like your favorite team needs a home court, home field, or home ice advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today can help you get that advantage. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day of their life. That's why they are different than those big box stores, which might have a flooring department, but the person helping you with the flooring may be doing sinks tomorrow, and they were stocking light bulbs yesterday. But with Empire, all they do is think about flooring, eat, sleep, breathe flooring, and they bring the showroom directly to you so you can see how the right materials and colors look in your space. They match your walls, your furniture, whatever it is. You can get the right measurements and have all of your questions answered so there are no surprises. And with Empire, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. So schedule that free in-home estimate today, and CHGO listeners, listen up. You can get $350 off when you use the promo code CHGO. Restrictions do apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details.
All right. Let's get to the super chat we've got here. A $20 super chat from Storytime Wonders. He says, as Martin Necas' contract ends after 2025-26 as UFA, do you trade a 2027, I'm going to think that's first, Toronto first, Florida first? Do you pull the trigger since he doesn't fit in Colorado? So I think what Storytime Wonders is asking, 3 first-round picks.
2027 first from Chicago.
Yeah.
The 25th pick this year is what I'm thinking they mean by Toronto
and
first.
The Florida
and
first,
Florida's first next
year. To get Martin Necas now. 3 first-round picks, including one that will probably still be a lottery pick. Well, 2027, maybe not, especially if you get Necas.
Well, yeah. I
have to know he wants to be here. And my concerns with him are he's not happy in Colorado. He's not happy in Carolina. Is he going to be happy in Chicago?
I mean, Colorado and Carolina, you're coming from organizations that were just competing in the Stanley Cup playoffs and were looked at as contenders. He wanted more opportunity and played well when he got it in Carolina.
Yeah, for sure.
And then goes to Colorado, not necessarily the best that I think they expected out of him. But yeah, I'm hesitant to give up 3 first-round picks for Necas when it's just like, okay, well, you wanted more opportunity, you got it, but now you're not happy, and now you're on a contender and you're not happy. Like,
well, if it's just about opportunity, he's going to get it here.
He'll get all the opportunity he wants here.
He'll be your top offensive option until Bedard passes him. Hopefully Bedard does pass him, and then he's number 2, but still he's going to be on your top line. If that's all he's after is opportunity and money, which, hey, some guys are, as long as they get paid and keep playing hard, I'm fine with it. I still feel like 3 is too many.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. I mean, I know the Florida and Toronto picks are lower, but
you would need to, in my eyes, you would need to have him locked up to contract.
I guess, yeah, you'd have to have a.
I wouldn't give up
agreed
3
to.
first-round picks for him while he's on his
All right,
expiring deal.
Let's say it comes with a 7-year extension. Are you in?
I'm thinking about it. I mean, he was on top line in Colorado.
I mean,
do you want to be in the? Can you not be happy playing on the top line with Nathan McKinnon, and then come to Chicago and be overjoyed to be in Chicago?
But if he's going to sign for
know.
7 years, which has been the problem in Carolina and now seemingly Colorado, that would indicate he's content being here. So if you get that deal signed, I would strongly consider that deal. But
it's not at the top
tough.
of my off-season hypotheticals.
Yeah, I really like him though, and he does fit what the Hawks want. He's very fast, very
I
skilled.
think he'd be really good here. It's just once you've said I'm unhappy in Carolina, now you say I'm unhappy in Colorado, then you start having the questions.
Yeah, then it's a matter of when will you be happy. Good question. By the way, reminder, we are collecting donations all week for Big Brothers Big Sisters. If you want to kick in a few bucks, hit that little handshake heart near the chat window to donate. All that money will go to Big Brothers and Big Sisters, our newest partners. So please chip in. We'll have a big day for it on Thursday, but certainly there's no need to wait if you want to kick in a few bucks for a really great cause.
Absolutely.
All right, next question comes from JX Dirty. What other Hawks prospects would make sense in getting a trade done for someone like Peterka or Robertson? Would someone like Boisvert or Vanacker be potential trade options if an NHL-ready player is coming to the Hawks? I think you're going to – I mean, there's a reason that Kevin Korchinski's name always comes up in these things because he is the prospect you're probably – the highest prospect you're willing to trade. You're not – they're unwilling to trade Bedard, Levshinov, and Rinzel, in my mind.
Yeah.
So Korchinski's the next one they'd consider.
I think he's the most valuable expendable prospect because he is – I think he's got the highest skill set, the closest NHL readiness for a team, and 7th overall pick. Like teams will be like, oh, former like we're hearing with who I just had it in my head. I'll think of it. But just like they say, oh, former first round Soderstrom.
Yeah.
It's like former first round pick. Like of course, that carries some cachet to it. But with Korchinski comparing to Soderstrom, I think he's shown a little bit more of it. So outside of like some of the guys that we've been talking about, like as the question says, like Boisvert and Vanacker, sure, they definitely would intrigue other teams because of the talent level that they're at, what they've shown so far in their development paths. For former first round picks, like they definitely would help. I think from what you gather from Kyle Davidson, what he said, what his plan has been, if you've read Ben Pope's latest for the Chicago Sun-Times, it really feels like Davidson's taking into consideration the changing landscape of the salary cap and how building from within is going to be more, I don't want to say more successful, but it seems like a simpler path than trying to get crazy with free agents and trades and all that. So I'm not sure that he'd be giving up on guys he just picked last year in the first round, like Vanacker and Boisvert. So would they be, intriguing in a trade for a Jason Robertson or a JJ Peterka? Absolutely. I just don't know if on the Chicago side, those are guys that he really wants to put in there.
Yeah. And I know that can feel frustrating, and it does to me too. Like, oh my God, not all these guys are going to be great NHL players. We can't just keep thinking that way. But I would go back to like a year ago now, like what percentage of Cub fans were like, Pete Crow Armstrong is never going to be a star player. They should trade him while he can. He's got high value right now. And then all of a sudden it clicks for Pete Crow Armstrong, and he's one of the best players in baseball.
Right.
The best player on the Cubs, like right now, which is crazy to think because we're where we were a year ago with him. So sometimes patience pays off, but you've got, like, for me to start talking about like the big pieces though, like Peterka is probably the least player I would accept for a guy like Jason Robertson is a different story That is a 25-year-old proven all-star, exactly what this team needs kind of a player. I think Peterka's good. I like him. I would like him on this team. I would celebrate if it happened. But I wonder what percentage of Peterka's success comes from the old someone has to score philosophy. Now they've got Tage Thompson. They've got Alex Tuck. They've got some guys who have, Tage has scored 50 before.
Right.
So I don't want to say it's Peterka and nobody, but you look in Chicago and you have 31 goals from Ryan Donato because someone has to score goals. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you got to make sure you're scouting correctly, but I'm not. Yeah, I need like a stud player if somebody like Korchinski is going to be in there, but Boisvert, Vanacker, like those are the kind of names you might have to part with if you're looking for immediate help. But I do think if anything's going to be traded, it's going to be defensemen. I think that they've got a surplus of NHL-ready, good, young defensemen. Frank Saravalli mentioned it today on Daily Faceoff Rundown, had a lot of stuff on the Hawks. He says, quote, they're going to have to trade away a few defensemen either this summer or this season to make room for the guys they have. That's true. He also mentioned they'll have $65 million to spend to get to the cap floor next season. Not this coming, but the following. And he said they're not going to be crazy in free agency, but they want to be active in the trade market, and the number 3 pick is in play to get a real difference maker. I don't know who. This is my thing for that, though. What kind of a player are you trading the 3rd overall pick for? And who, like, if you're talking Peterka for 3, that's 3 is too much for him. I'll take my chances at Porter Martone or James Higgins or Michael Misa or whoever, Anton Frondel, is going to be as good as JJ Peterka in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not bullish on giving up the number 3 pick unless it's something for a major difference maker. And I don't think Peterka is that kind of difference maker. I think he definitely elevates the floor of this team and makes the guys around him better, but I don't know if number 3 is worth that unless it's in a package with something else.
What if it's him and Byram?
There need to be there to make that work.
There's gotta be more moving
I think
parts,
there's more moving parts. Also, it has to come with contracts for both those guys. So that would be a lot of moving pieces. I don't know. I think I am more to your point. I think I lean more towards the guy you get at 3 will be more impactful than, like a Peterka or a Robertson. But I mean, we've talked about getting this team to be better in the immediacy. You might use your 25 pick if you use 3 in a trade. I think you still probably pick at 25 unless they're packaged together. And I think you still
that's gonna be a big return if it's both.
Yeah, absolutely, of course. And then you're not going out the offer sheet route, going crazy or anything like that. You hold on to that your own 2026 first. I'm more keen on holding that than I'd be on holding this number 3 pick. But
true.
Again, like you can't really predict the future. So I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know if I fully trust that number 3 is in play, knowing Kyle Davidson and his tendencies. But I also wouldn't be against if he's using that to get a big time trade player, like someone who's going to, be on the level of like one of those free agent signings we've been talking about. Yeah.
So like someone, and that's kind of the game you have to play, is you got to go through teams and be like what one team I think of in this, what are the Bruins doing? They traded Marchand.
Mm-hmm.
They traded a bunch of other, like Trent Frederick, Carlo was traded, some solid like depth veterans. They hired a first-time head coach. Is Boston getting ready to not full-blown rebuild? I don't think they will. But, like, is David Pastrnak can play?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, would Boston take, 3+ for Pastrnak?
Yeah, I mean, that's a question of, like, what direction are they going to go into a rebuild, or are they going to try and piece things together while you still have Jeremy Swayman and Charlie McAvoy? But if you're moving Pastrnak, better just tank out.
Well, you get your
team.
shot at McKenna, as Alex points out here
Yeah.
in the chat. Bruins want McKenna, sort of the Penguins.
Yeah.
And it looks like the Penguins might be. I heard a rumor that Malkin might retire.
Just straight up retire?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So maybe it's after next season when his contract's up. But
Oh, right.
we'll see. All right, got to hit the break zone one final time. Do us a favor before we do. Hit that like button. We're only 54 likes. What? I know it's Monday, but just navigate over there and hit that like button for us, please. Talk to you in 120 seconds on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
Hey, it's hot out there. Is your air conditioner ready for the summer ahead? If not, you need to call our friends at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. They've been serving the Chicagoland area for over 50 years, and now is the time to get your AC checked out. Four Seasons experts are ready to help you with AC installation, maintenance, and repair. Last year's summer was the hottest on record for Chicago, with the heat index reaching 114 degrees out at O'Hare. And if that's going to be the same thing this summer, you need to be prepared. Four Seasons' expert technicians ensure that you always receive reliable service. If you have an emergency during a night, a weekend, or a holiday, they don't charge extra for service during those times. They want to make sure that you are calm, cool, and collected with a cool house and an AC working right. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. fourseasonsheatingcooling.com.
Remember Nashville Game 5?
Yes.
Remember 17 seconds?
Yes.
Remember Big Buff knocking the Sharks out of the playoffs?
I do.
I do too. Wouldn't have been cool to be there.
Yes.
Well, if we had game time back then, we could have been there. There's nothing like Stanley Cup playoff hockey, and game time makes getting tickets faster and easier, even for hard-to-get playoff seats. They have killer last-minute deals, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. They've got those last-minute tickets and zone deals. It's easy to find and buy NHL tickets and tickets to every kind of event in your area. Want to go see Ben Folds tonight with me?
Oh.
No tickets on game time at the moment, but there will be closer to showtime at 7:30. They got their low price guarantee and event cancellation protection, job loss protection. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use code CHGO for $20 off your purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, hit that like button for us. Let's get over 100 likes, please. And now it's time for Taking the Temp, presented by your local experts at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. And we like to take the temp of the audience in the offseason, and we're certainly seeing a shift, not just today, but in recent shows of not so much focus on Mitch Marner or Brock Besser or whichever free agent. It's more about the trades. And based on what we've heard, you mentioned Ben Pope writing about it this weekend, Frank Saravalli this morning on Daily Faceoff, seems to be that the Hawks are in play to make a big trade either before or at the draft.
Yeah, it seems like that's going to be the more fruitful route to try and find something to work, because even though the team can use a ton of cap space to try and sign a lot of these guys, free agents, it's not going to be smart to do that because you have all of your own internal players that you are building with and believing in and making that next wave of Blackhawks hockey focused on. They're all going to need new deals. Nazar and Bedard and like some of these defensemen are going to be coming up on new deals soon. You need to make sure you have the money properly allocated for those guys.
Here's your RFAs after next season: Veleno, Reichel, Bedard, Nazar, Colton Dock.
I think he sticks around.
Korchinski.
Yeah.
Spencer Knight.
That's going to be an interesting one.
Blackhawks legend Shea Weber needs a new deal.
He needs a new deal.
Joey Anderson will need a new deal. Ethan Del Mastro. Newly acquired Ryan Mast will need one. Nolan Allen.
Got to get that Ryan
Drew
Mast
Camesso.
extension.
Like, there's a lot of dudes. And look, a lot of these won't be expensive.
No.
But that 2026-27 summer is going to be an important one for the Hawks.
That Spencer Knight deal is going to be fascinating to me.
Get it done now.
I
signed him. I signed Bedard. I get anyone I can get out of the way this summer. I'm doing it.
Yeah, before the season starts.
Yes,
I would do that for
100%.
sure.
All right, thanks to Four Seasons. That is the temp. The temp of the fans.
All right,
Toasty.
What we got next, Steven?
Damp. Moist. History Racer says, thoughts on the trade for William Karlsson? Hawks send Kurashev
Sure.
and a second or third. Vegas clears cap to go after a big target, and Hawks get a second-line center off a down year until young guys are ready. I like William Karlsson. Philip Kurashev in a second or third isn't going to get it done.
No.
Think of Philip Kurashev's value as a 0.
Right.
No. I mean, but William Karlsson is an intriguing idea.
I like the idea of William Karlsson.
Yes.
And I think, second round pick, 2 second round picks, I think you could do that because Vegas is just trying to get that money off of their books.
So you can sign Marner.
So if you don't need to give them anything back, money going back to them, I think it's definitely worth exploring. And yeah, Karlsson, he's not the guy he used to be. But he's still a very serviceable second line center, a good two-way guy, a guy that's going to put in, probably 20 goals in that range. I'd definitely be in on him.
2 years left at $5.9 million, so not an issue at all money-wise.
That's fine.
Last year with Vegas, had 29 points in 53 games. The year prior, 60 points in 70 games, and then 53 points in 82 games. So
especially if you're not going to get Ryan Donato back.
Yeah.
If you brought in a guy like Karlsson, like that, I'm not saying that's player for player comparison, but I'm just saying that is somebody who kind of fills that spot for, point production. You'd imagine goal scoring, a guy that can play 2 ways. I think that would be a good idea. I like that idea.
Yeah, it's a player that makes sense, and it doesn't hurt you long term and makes the team better, more competitive. That he's the guy that makes sense. I think we just got to tweak the idea there.
Yeah.
For you. Good question though. Thank you. And then we've got next a big one.
4-parter.
We're gonna need to zoom in on that so Old Man River can see it here.
It says, happy belated Father's Day to the entire CHGO team.
Thank you,
James. Myriad mailbag questions. First, do you think Kyle Davidson will continue to focus on speed as a priority at this draft or begin focusing on other qualities based on needs of balancing a team? I think he has said that he's not locked in on a specific type of player, even though he's shown that he's got a tendency to get those types of speed players. I still think, though, there is going to be that idea that you have to be a high-level skater, or at least if they're let's say it's Porter Martone, if they go with him at number 3, do they view all of his other skills besides skating as overshadowing his perceived lack of skating ability? I think that would have to be the case.
I think so too.
What else do we have in that question?
Yeah, what was the next part?
When you, as accredited journalists, how do you watch a Blackhawks game? What do you look for? Anything different than casually watching it as a fan?
I would say so. I mean, not everybody watches a game the same, but when you're there, I think we pay a lot of attention to the benches, see what's going on, communication down there.
Mm-hmm.
The perch from the press box is actually very perfect because you can see the whole ice surface.
It's really nice, yeah.
So when I started watching hockey more with a better eye, I started watching kind of behind the play. I don't watch the puck as much because you're kind of, when you watch as often as we do, your brain kind of knows where the puck is. So you're looking for trailers. You're looking to see who's coming, who's going, who's, who could possibly be back in terms of if a turnover occurs. But I don't think other than that, it's significantly different. I think keeping an eye on the bench is key. I will say a disadvantage we have, and maybe this year now with CHSN being a little more accessible, hearing stuff that's happening during the game that you hear on the broadcast, we don't really get
right
there. So sometimes there will be things that we'll miss in conversation that maybe Darren Pang or Rick Ball noticed during a game that they point out that we did not see or notice.
Yeah.
So that's something that I tried a couple times last year to put an earpiece in and listen, but the Fubo was so far behind real time that it was very difficult to do.
Yeah.
So I kind of gave up on that. But if the CHSN Xfinity feed is a little closer to reality, then that might work.
Yeah, I agree. I think being up on the level that we're at, you can see so much more of the ice, and it's just from a different perspective than when you're watching on TV. And yeah, I would say just being able to kind of see a wider scope of the game, where things develop, how things break down. I've been seeing that a lot more often in recent years. But yeah, you just kind of you're just able to kind of see more of the expansion of a play rather than just kind of seeing where the puck's going. And
I would say too, seeing if the things we see at practice carry over to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, here's what they're working on here. This is clearly what they're, even if it's not like, here's the system. It's like, what was the focus of practice today? Like a lot of times they'll put 2 goals in the offensive zone, one at each face-off dot, and it's just in tight battles.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll do net front, they'll be puck, shot deflection, they'll be power play focused, and you want to see how it translates into the game.
Yeah,
that's the thing that we get that a lot of fans don't.
Definitely.
Next one, it says, how did you get into the Blackhawks beat podcasting prior to CHGO?
I just I've been a fan for a long time, and through college, just kind of started writing about the Blackhawks and sports, more general sports, and then kind of narrowed down to hockey because I just started getting more passionate about it for that purpose. And then when I was working in Milwaukee, sports radio station in Milwaukee, they had an opportunity to cover the Milwaukee Admirals. So I was like, all right, I'll do that. They were the broadcast home of the team. So I was like, all right, I'll be the representative and go to the games and stuff. And so went that route and was encouraged to keep pushing that passion, and stops with Blackhawk Up, Second City Hockey, the Rink, and then Bleacher Nation, and now I'm here.
There you go. I was a big-time Hawks fan since the mid-'90s is really when the hooks got into me as a hockey fan. Followed it religiously. Didn't have season tickets, but I went to almost every home game because with my student ID, they were $8. And then suddenly, while I was working at 670 The Score, the Blackhawks got good, and they needed someone to talk about them knowledgeably, and I was the only one there that could do it. So I got to do post-game shows for all the cup runs, a bunch of bar events with players. And then from there, I started the Madhouse podcast in 2017 with James Naveau. And then that became CHGO Blackhawks. And James was offered a job here, but opted to stay at NBC, where he is today. And he'll also be at our golf outing.
Speaking of James Naveau,
it's his birthday this week, too.
Part 4 of our question.
Oh, there we go.
Any consideration for bringing in an old school guest like James to break up some of the dog days of summer after July 1st?
Yes.
There you go.
I just don't know how much James is still watching the Hawks. Not that I care. I mean, he could talk knowledgeably about anything. Yeah, of course, yeah. But yes, of course. I think we'll put James on soon.
I think that would be a lot of fun.
And he will be at the golf outing.
Nice.
You should come. Him and Charlie Romeliotis.
That's
star-studded lineup.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Chill Dog.
Assuming we make our pick at number 3, how far up does Kyle Davidson need to move from 25 such that you think the team is getting another awesome talent? And what would it cost in addition to the 25th overall pick? Example, what do you need to get to number 8 or a pick 12 through 15? And what would it cost? 25th overall plus what? So if you use the pick at 3, does Davidson have aspirations to get back into the top 20 or top 10?
Brady Martin.
Top 15? Yeah, I think it can be done. I think if you want to get to that top 15 range, I think if you're saying 25 plus
Florida's pick next year.
Yeah.
Or would you give a second?
I mean, Florida's pick next year, you're assuming is late first, much like it is this year.
Yep.
Hawks have the 34th pick this year. So could you get a team to take the 34th pick or
25 and 34 for
or next year's, are you talking next year's 29th overall pick or something like that? I don't know. I think if you're just trying to move pick for pick, we saw last year they moved from, what was it, 20th to 18th, something like that.
Yeah.
When they moved up to where they ended up getting Boisvert, and it cost them 2 seconds, I think it was.
Yeah.
So, if you're moving a first round pick 10 spots, I think it's going to take, another equivalent. Yeah, I think the idea of maybe that Florida first, because you're saying it's a first, like,
right,
knowing it's Florida, it could be anywhere between 32 and 25 likely. But I think that could get you close to that top 15.
I would say too, like, Davidson would not just do it without having a target in mind.
Right.
Like, I just want to have a higher pick, especially in this draft where it's not so. I know next year's draft is much better, so it's something to keep in mind. Those picks will have more value than picks will this year. But if it's like, hey, number 8 went by and number 9 went by, and that guy we want is still there, just like he tried to do with Oliver Moore.
Yeah.
You start making calls in hopes that you get the guy you really want. But I don't think he should just, like, today.
Right.
Unless he's trading up for like 4. So
right.
you guarantee you get 2 guys you really love, fine. But, like, I think that's the sort of thing that happens during the draft, which will be fascinating to see this year because it's decentralized.
Yeah.
So you won't have guys running up to tables and talking to people. It's going to be.
No, they're just calling room to room.
Right.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. All right. Vinny is next. These, again, all from our members, our Diehards Only Discord. If you want to become a diehard, go to allchgo.com to sign up today. Vinny says, if we could package Korchinski, our 25th, and perhaps another prospect, would that be enough to get us into the top 5 again to get 2 of those top forwards like Frondell and Hagens? See, I know we keep talking about trading Korchinski. I still think Korchinski's going to be good. If I'm trading Korchinski, I want a proven NHL star-level player. All-star level player, and maybe not a Sidney Crosby or Mitch Marner, but like someone that is guaranteed to be in your top 6 for the next 5 to 7 years. I don't want another, and like in this draft, even like Hagens, Martone, those guys are lottery tickets. We don't know how good they're going to be.
Yeah.
So if I'm moving Korchinski, it's for proven talent.
You'd have to be sold that moving up to get those guys are going to be better than anything that you are going to get out of Korchinski or anyone that you pick at those spots. If I'm giving up Korchinski, as D. Paris kind of says, if I'm moving Korchinski, I would want it to be in a trade that, if it's going to be a draft related trade, I'd want it to be to get up to 1. So you're securing Michael Misa.
I have very little interest in 2.
2 doesn't do anything unless you know the Islanders are taking Matthew Schaefer, and then the Sharks say, well, we're not going to get our top defenseman that you were maybe hoping to get in what the organization needs. Yeah, maybe they still say, okay, well, we'll take Michael Misa still as the consolation prize, quote unquote. But they might also be like, well, we could either trade back and get more picks and still get a good defenseman and plus other top guys.
Because the expectation is the top, 5 of the top 6 picks should be forwards in this draft?
Yeah.
If it goes chalk. So San Jose is like, all right, well, we're not getting Schaefer. Why don't we take,
Yeah, if they end up doing that, then you move up to 2, but if you want to guarantee you're going to get Michael Misa, you just go to 1.
Right.
And I say that with, just trade for the first overall pick.
Yeah.
But I would want, if Korchinski's getting moved, I want it for something like that in a draft sense, that it's going to be, you're getting the best guy in the draft.
I also think, like, as we talked about a lot, like the Islanders, if they take James Hagens 3rd, I don't think the fan base freaks out. I think they're pretty happy with that.
First, you're saying Islanders.
Yeah. If they take James, no, I'm saying like if they swap at the Hawks and
if they
Islanders swap picks,
sure.
I don't think they're mad about getting James Hagens, and the Hawks aren't trading up to 1 to get Hagens.
No.
The Sharks are taking either Misa or Schaefer.
Yeah.
So you're safe that Higgins will be there at 3.
Every Hawks report that we've heard regarding like, who they want to take or anything like that, it's always given with the caveat of, well, if Misa's not there, they're going to take Frondell or whoever. Right. Like it's very clear that Michael Misa is the top forward of the draft class, and some people might say top prospect of the draft class. So yeah, I think if you're making that kind of move, I'd want it to be to get to 1.
Yeah. And Darren says we can get an all-star for Korchinski. I'm doubtful. It's not just Korchinski.
Right. If you're saying
it would
25,
be a package deal. It would be a first-round pick and
and
Korchinski.
And another prospect, as the question said. Yeah. It'd want to be for something more than
It's not going to be Jason Robertson for Kevin Korchinski straight up. If it was, that'd be great.
I'd love it.
All right. This one from our pal Windy City Hockey with another jersey concept. He says, with the Centennial uniforms getting released probably within the next couple months, what would you like to see for a road Centennial jersey? This is a concept I put together for a Centennial road jersey. I gave the metallic gold outline to the crest of the jersey, shifted the waist striping up, and gave a black helm stripe. Also made the shoulders black with red piping to balance the jersey out, since I located the tomahawks to the sleeves striping.
Did the Bruins do... Oh, they did do an away jersey. Okay. I was trying to think if they had home and away Centennials.
I'm just doing a throwback white.
Like they did for the 15 and 17 Winter Classics? Yeah.
That's all. I mean, even if you went back to this, we're not going to take it down now, but this Chelios jersey that's on our set, it has the gold outlined warrior head.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the tomahawks over the stripes. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, I would be okay if they did that logo that looks like they're doing for the Centennial with it being outlined. If they did that, and then like they did for I think it was I'm remembering correctly, it was the 15 Winter Classic that had the 2015 Winter Classic that had the current logo on the throwback jersey. And then I think it was the 2017 one where it was the throwback jersey, but it was also the throwback logo. I think if they had the logo they're going to do on the design that was the 17 throwback, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. I'm open to them going with some sort of concept thing, but I think being that it's the Blackhawks, original 6, 100 years, all that stuff, it feels like they're not going to go with like, here's a concept. I think they're going to go with, this is like a throwback, even if it's like a concept throwback or something like that.
Like the Winter Classic jersey is kind of a concept throwback.
Right.
But I think what Windy City Hockey came up with looks very modern. Can you throw it up there again, Steven?
This
one looks more like I like it. It's kind of like similar to the reverse retro.
Yeah.
But with a more traditional logo. I like it. I just don't know if it fits the 100-year, because it looks like a future jersey to me.
It reminds me a little bit of the 2016 outdoor stadium series where they played the Wild with and they had the stars, and it was kind of like asymmetrical. Yeah. Kind of reminds me of that one a little bit.
Yeah. I like these concepts though. Keep them coming. Good stuff, Windy City. King Tanner says, thinking about going to a new barn next season, which city and arena is a 10-10 must visit? Cup holders are a bonus point. I have been to, Tampa, Boston, Columbus, St. Louis. I went to the Joe, so that doesn't count. Did I say Toronto already?
You didn't.
I've been to Toronto. Going to a game in Toronto is very, very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been to Nashville. Nashville's fun if you want to put up with what Nashville has become.
Sure.
Over the last 10 years. It's just because there's other stuff to do.
Right.
But of hockey arenas alone, Toronto has been the coolest. If I was to pick a trip, I would go to Montreal.
Yeah.
That's my bucket list. Like if we could talk to the company, hey, we're not going to the draft. Hawks play in Montreal on this day. How about you send us up for the weekend? I would take the family. I'd make a whole thing out of it.
That'd be sick.
Like that is a bucket list spot for me.
Yeah, I 5 arenas I want to get to.
Oh, I've been to MSG too. Sorry.
That's on my list.
Overrated.
Madison Square Garden. Want to see a game in Toronto. Want to see a game in Montreal. I hear great things about XL Energy Center in Minnesota. That seems, I don't know where King Tanner's located, but that seems pretty accessible to us here in the Chicagoland area. Going and seeing a game in Vegas because of everything that Vegas offers, and also it's a cool in-arena fan experience.
Right.
I think that would be pretty fun too.
Yeah.
So
Utah. We went to Utah too.
Utah was cool. Yeah.
And we've been to Pittsburgh.
Because it was new. Yeah. Pittsburgh was
fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
It's fine.
I wouldn't have it on my top 5.
I guess the Delta Center is getting like huge
renovations.
Thank you. That's the word.
Well, because they got to actually make it a hockey arena.
Because the whole end, you can't see anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me, Montreal
What was it, like a
BLM.
3/4 obstructed view?
Yes.
And, like behind the net? Yeah. Yeah, they made
Great
it work.
atmosphere, though.
It was awesome atmosphere from a pure hockey standpoint.
100%. Even though the Hawks were ass
one
that
more?
game. Yeah, let's do one more.
All right. If you had to bring a former Blackhawk currently in the NHL back to Chicago in the offseason, who would you take? For the sake of the thought, no Kane or Taze. Oh. Also, okay, we'll get to part 2 after that one. Jake McCabe.
Former Hawk, not Kane or Taves.
My answer was always going to be Jake
Hagel.
McCabe. Yeah, that's a good one. Bring them both back.
Yeah, Brendan Hagel.
That would be
That's fine.
That'd be a tough.
I like the
team.
caveat though; it makes it much harder.
Yeah. I mean, there's a good amount of former Hawks that are having, relative success around the league. Philip Deneau.
Yeah,
we always talk about losing him.
Ryan Hartman.
Sure. as a depth role, sure.
Yeah, okay. I think Hagel or McCabe are the answer.
Absolutely.
I love me some Jake McCabe.
Second part of that question was about food.
Yeah, upscale restaurants in the city.
What's an upscale restaurant in the city you would recommend? I'm going to the Chicago Theater on Friday and need suggestions.
This weekend, I went to La Briola, which is on...
Sounds fancy.
It's like 500 North Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Grand. It's like Michigan and Grand. And it's like Italian food. They got pizza, so if you want to go casual, the pizza's great.
Nice.
But I've had the steak there, the lemon chicken. We were all kind of sharing this weekend. I went out with my in-laws.
Nice.
And it was wonderful and not crazy expensive.
Oh, nice.
You can always do
good.
like all the athletes go to Chicago Cut,
right?
Like right on the river. You're going to pay a fee just for going there. I mean, it all depends on how much you want to spend, but I really recommend a nice right in the middle is La Briola on Grand in Michigan because it's not insanely expensive and the food is really, really good and big portions.
Oh, that's always good.
Yeah.
Bang for your buck.
Yes.
I have yet to eat there. I've tried to do it for my birthday, but then things didn't work. I was sick, I think. But Trivoli Tavern here on the west side of town, I hear amazing things about it. Again, great Italian food, cool atmosphere. So that would be one that I can't give my personal endorsement, but every endorsement I've heard of it is.
I was just there. It was really good.
Yeah,
good drinks, good food, good atmosphere.
I got to get there.
That's like right here, right?
Yeah,
it's
Madison,
walkable from our studios.
And Corey with a good reminder: Rosemary on in Fulton Market is outstanding. Rosemary's really good, cool experience. I mean Fulton Market's full of cool places.
Yeah,
but
just had Randolph Fest.
Rosemary's great. Rosebuds. There's one on Rush. There's one on Taylor. That's like a Chicago institution.
The upscale Texas Roadhouse. What is that?
You laugh, but I know.
What is that?
You don't know what Texas Roadhouse is?
I know what Texas Roadhouse. Is there an upscale version of it?
They're all upscale.
It's the closest I've come to crapping my pants as an adult.
Oh, come on. It's great steak.
Do they still do the just grab a handful of peanuts and...
No, they don't.
No?
Yeah, that ended with
I remember
COVID.
that as a kid.
Fun fact with Texas Roadhouse, though, you could actually order any size steak you want as long as the butcher's there.
Oh.
All right.
So you get the old 96er?
Yeah. I once ordered a 32-ounce steak.
Oh, God.
And the cook wanted to hand deliver it to see who it was that ordered a 32-ounce steak. Yeah.
That's the most Steven story
I'm
possible.
with you, though. Like, I can eat as much steak as you can put in front of me. It's just meat.
That's why Fogo de Chao is so good for you.
That's what I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
You can eat as much as you want.
Fogo de Chao cowers when Steven approaches.
They don't like me there.
No, not at all.
Oh.
Look, you're in maybe the premier food city in the United States. So
one of the best.
If you're looking for upscale, if you're looking for casual, like we got to shout out. If you're looking for a casual spot like JP Graziano, go get a like traditional Italian sub.
Yeah.
I think me and my wife are going to go to High Five Ramen tonight if we can get a spot.
Nice.
There's like 7 seats in there, but we're going to go early enough, so hopefully we can get in there. But you can't go wrong. Just go where the locals are. Avoid like the chain, and go get a Pequod's.
Pequod's is really good.
Yeah. Any more?
Oh, we're out of time.
Dang.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap things up. Back tomorrow, special guest Tuesday, surprise guest Tuesday. We don't know who it is. We're going to find out tomorrow at 2, just with you. Should be fun. Hit that like button on your way out. We'll talk to you at 2 on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.